佛，那么观世音菩萨，那么大势至菩萨，那么阿弥陀佛。阿弥陀佛。Respected Dharma masters, fellow practitioners, and guests of this YouTube channel, Amituofo, we will continue our sutra study of the larger sutra of Amituofo, and as is become custom, a brief comment prior to the lecture on the vows. Several of my students and disciples have recently been having problems with their non-Buddhist families. I have already spoken about a Westerner embracing Buddhism and trying to live in the world with their non-Buddhist family. And oftentimes, the non-Buddhist family is antagonistic and hostile towards the newly found Buddhist, someone who has taken refuge in the Triple Jewels and is excited about their new faith. And I want to touch briefly on this before we go into the sutra study. For Western Buddhists who have taken refuge, you should never quarrel with your parents. The Buddha taught us to be respectful and have filial piety towards our parents. And as Buddhists, we are called to endure hardships. So, when you are criticized by your parents, your friends, as hard as it is, you simply greet it with a smile and accept their abuse, their harsh words. And then have repentance, not for them, but for the negative thoughts that you held towards your parents and your friends. This is not how children of the Buddha act. We do not repay venom with venom. We do not repay anger with anger. We endure hardship, torment, with patience and loving kindness. In this way, we will be able to share the Buddha's light to all sentient beings, including our parents in this birth. It is easier said than done, but my friends, it is possible and it is necessary. We are not to argue with our mother or our father about our new faith in the Buddha. Merely, if they are open to conversation, then we are fully within our right to discuss the Dharma with them. But if their conditions have not blossomed to where the Dharma can be heard, then we are not to discuss the Dharma with our parents, nor are we to recite the Nianfo aloud amongst our parents. This will only cause discord and even more disharmony between you and your family. So for Western Buddhists whose parents are hostile, do not argue with them and do not repay hostility with hostility. Simply smile and keep the Buddha's name in your mind and in your heart, asking for the patience to practice forbearance in the midst of hostility. Easier said than done, but we are called to do so. And now, my friends, let us return to our sutra study, beginning with vow 21. O Bhagavat, if the bodhisattvas who are born in that Buddha country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, should not all be able, after having gone to other Buddha countries, after their one morning meal to worship many hundreds of Buddhas, many thousands of Buddha, many hundreds, thousands of Buddhas, many kotis of Buddhas, till up to many 100,000 niyutas of kotis of Buddha, with objects which give every kind of pleasure, and through this grace of the Buddha, then may I not obtain the highest enlightenment. Continuing on the theme, Dharmakara Bodhisattva, Amituofo, is vowing that the bodhisattvas of his Pure Land, if they are unable to do these things as he has said, may he not obtain the highest enlightenment, which of course we know he did. And why is this important? After the meal, going to hundreds of niyutas of thousands of kotis of Buddha lands, does this mean as Pure Land practitioners that we are only worshipping Amitabha Buddha, and that we are only paying homage to Amitabha Buddha and Shakyamuni Buddha? Absolutely not. In the Pure Land, all bodhisattvas will be able to instantaneously, as we saw in previous vows, transport themselves to innumerable Buddha lands in the 10 directions to pay homage and to worship, always returning to the Pure Land of Amituofo. Vow 22. O Bhagavat, if those bodhisattvas in that Buddha country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, should wish their stock of merit to grow in the following shapes, either in gold, in silver, in jewels, in pearls, in barrels, in shells, in stones, in corals, in crystal, in amber, in red pearls, in diamonds, etc., or in any one of the other jewels, or in all kinds of perfumes, in flowers, in garlands, in ointment, in incense powder, in cloaks, in umbrellas, in flags, in banners, or in lamps, or in all kinds of dancing and singing and music. And if such gifts should not appear for them, for being produced as soon as a thought of, then may I not obtain the highest perfect knowledge of enlightenment. What does this mean? Simply, this is another way of Amitabha Buddha telling us that in the Pure Land, all of our wants and desires are fulfilled instantaneously by the power of the vow and our self-power that we used here at this time on this life. In order to be born into the Pure Land, it is not simply reliance on Buddha Amitabha's vow, but on our own practice, our self-power mingled with the other power of Amituofo. In that way, and that way only, will we be born into the Pure Land. And in the Pure Land, if all of the desires that we have, food, shelter, clothing, all of the aforementioned objects, if they were not given instantaneously, then the vows, all of these vows that we're discussing of Amituofo would be null, and he would have never become the Buddha. This is reiterating that any thought that one has in the Pure Land, any desire for food, clothing, gems, jewels, any of these things, instantaneously will be given. through the grace of Amitabha Buddha, and through the merits that we have secured through our practice in this current life prior to birth. Vow 23. O Bhagavan, if those beings who are born in that Buddha country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, should not all recite the story of the law which is accomplished by omniscience, may I not obtain the highest perfect knowledge. All bodhisattvas in the Pure Land constantly recite the true law, the Dharmakaya. In the Heart Sutra, we speak of the prajna, the wisdom. It is the Prajna Paramita Sutra. Prajna means all wisdom, the Dharmakaya, thusness, suchness, all that is. This vow is reiterating that the bodhisattvas in that Buddha country will all recite the true law, which is summed up in these characters: Namo Amituofo. All dharmas are encompassed in the holy name of Buddha Amitabha. And all bodhisattvas in that Buddha country, in the Pure Land, will recite Amituofo, 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 as we have done in this life, praising the merits, the vows of Buddha Amitabha to save all sentient beings without any distinction. Such a beautiful vow. Vow 24. O Bhagavat, if in the Buddha, O Bhagavat, if the bodhisattvas in that Buddha country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, should think thus, may we, returning in this world, honor, revere, esteem, and worship the blessed Buddhas in immeasurable and innumerable Buddha countries, with cloaks, alms bowls, beds, stools, refreshments, medicines, utensils with flowers, incense, lamps, perfumes, garlands, ointment, powder, cloaks, umbrellas, flags, banners, with different kinds of dancing, singing, and music, and with all showers of jewels. And if the blessed Buddhas should not accept them when they are produced as soon as thought of from compassion, then may I not obtain the highest perfect knowledge. The Buddha Amituofo in this vow is telling us that if all of the forms of worship were not accepted, any form, and it does not simply include what is mentioned in the text: incense, flowers, garlands, umbrellas, ornaments, ointments, and so on. Any form of practice, any object of worship that is given and offered to the Buddha, whether it be in this world fruits, which then we consume or we give to others that have been blessed by the Buddha, if those things were not accepted by him, then he would never obtain the highest enlightenment and become Amituofo. Vow 25. O Bhagavat, if the bodhisattvas who are born in that country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, should not all be in possession of strength of body as strong as the diamond or thunderbolt of Narayana, then may I not obtain the highest perfect knowledge. The thunderbolt Narayan was an avatar of Vishnu in the Hindu pantheon, one of the great gods. If the bodhisattvas do not have the abilities, the thought forms, and the strength of Narayana, of God, of Vishnu, a god in the realm of devas, then would he not obtain the highest enlightenment. So the bodhisattvas in the Pure Land have the powers of God. of the god Narayan, which is ultimate. Omniscience, omnipresence. Bodhisattvas in the Pure Land have those abilities through the compassion and mercy of the Buddha. Vow 26. O Bhagavat, if any being in that Buddha country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, should learn the limit of the beauty of its ornament, even if he be possessed of the divine eye, and should know its various beauty, saying, that Buddha country possesses so much beauty and so much magnificence, then may I not obtain the highest perfect knowledge. The Pure Land is limitless beauty and limitless light. This vow is basically stating the impossible, that if you were to perceive of a limit to its beauty, to its ornamentation, and if you were able to speak of such limits, then may the Buddha not become the Buddha. These vows, some people read through the sutra and they say, oh, it's boring. It just reiterates itself over and over and over. But if you delve deeply into what the vows are saying, yes, they support one another from the first vow to the 40th. But they are extremely important to study, to ponder and meditate over each one of these vows. Vow 27. O Bhagavat, if in that Buddha country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, a bodhisattva possessed even of a very small stock of merit should not perceive the Bodhi tree of noble beauty, at least 100 yoganas in height, then may I not obtain the highest perfect knowledge. Even if your merit in this life that you have obtained is exceedingly small, you will still see that the Pure Land that you are born into is figuratively the Bodhi tree. It is the only way of enlightenment for this day and age, in the Dharma ending age. And when you attain birth in the Pure Land, even with the smallest merits and the most evil karma still on you, you will still know that in the Pure Land, this is the path to true enlightenment. And your enlightenment is assured by the vows of Amituofo. Vow 28. O Bhagavat, if in that Buddha country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, either teaching or learning should have to be made by any being, and they should not all be in possession of the perfect knowledge, and may I not obtain the highest enlightenment. In the Pure Land, all have perfect knowledge, perfect wisdom, and attain the Bodhisattva stage. You will know all that there is to know. You will understand the experience that suffering sentient beings have in the 10 directions, caught up in this cycle of birth and death, and you will know how to liberate those beings. All perfect knowledge will instantaneously be yours, as you are taught by Amituofo, Guanyin Pusa, Dashizhi Pusa, and the heavenly host of the Pure Land. Verse 29. O Bhagavat, if in that Buddha country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, should not be so brilliant that in it could be seen on all sides immeasurable, innumerable, inconceivable, incomparable, immense Buddha countries, as a round face is seen in a highly burnished round mirror, then may I not obtain the highest perfect knowledge of enlightenment. In the Pure Land, the Bodhisattvas will be able to see all Buddha lands throughout the universe, throughout the 10 directions, immediately and instantaneously by a simple thought. All Buddhas, their countenance, their teachings, their lands, will all be available to the Bodhisattvas in the Pure Land, instantaneously, at a single thought. All of these beautiful vows Amituofo made for you and for me. It is not simply enough to say, as some religions do, if you believe in me, you will go to my heaven and there you will be happy. Buddha Amitabha has stated in 40 different vows all of the inconceivable beauties and wonders that will be given to those bodhisattvas that are reborn into his Pure Land. And those vows that we are discussing in this series. Finally, verse 30. O Bhagavat, if in that Buddha country of mine, after I have obtained enlightenment, there should not be 100,000 of vases full of different sweet perfumes made of all kinds of jewels, always smoking with incense, fit for the worship of bodhisattvas and tagatas, rising into the sky beyond gods, men, and all things, then may I not obtain the highest perfect knowledge of enlightenment. Another beautiful vow describing the beauty of the Pure Land. The Pure Land that surpasses gods and men. And there will always be the sweet smell of incense, and flowers, and jewels, and sacred netting, songs, Dharma animals, and birds. My friends, the Pure Land is so beautiful, and it is our only true home, because it is in the Pure Land that we will obtain Buddhahood. The same Buddha nature that is in you, in your heart, deep down inside, is the same Buddha nature that is in my heart, Venerable Master Xing Yuan, Jing Gong, all of the Dharma masters throughout the world. It is the same thusness, the same suchness, the same prajna that is the ultimate. And in the Pure Land, it all is understood and becomes a true living experience for you and I and all of those born into the Pure Land. In closing this segment of the Sutra study, I would like to again plead with my Western disciples. If you have family or friends that are hostile and negative to your Buddhist faith, that is okay. That is fine. Do not try to force understanding of your beliefs on your family and friends. If their causes, if their conditions are ready for them to understand, then they will ask you, and they will listen with a true mind and a true heart. But if they are hostile, do not engage hostility with hostility. Do not return slander and angry word for slander and angry word, because it will only harm their karma and yours. No, my friends, accept that burden and that suffering. And be thankful to them for chastising you, because it is helping you burn away evil karma. But if you snap back and you lash at them, you are not acting like a bodhisattva. You are not acting like a Buddha. You are acting like an ordinary person. And you are only creating even more harmful karmic conditions for yourself, and more importantly, for your loved ones who have not accepted the Buddha Dharma. You recite the Buddha's name. Your birth in the Pure Land is assured. But what about them? Does your compassionate heart not ache for them and sorrow for them? So why would you wish to create more bad karma for them? No, it is much better and much easier to take the pain and suffering that they put upon you than for you to cause even a moment of anguish and suffering on them. My friends, my Dharma masters, fellow practitioners and guests, may the Buddha bless you and your family today and every day. May you hear the call of Buddha Amitabha calling your name personally, urging you, coaxing you, guiding you to the other shore, to the Pure Land, where your enlightenment is assured and your Buddhahood is assured. All suffering, all causes of suffering will be gone. And you will become the Buddha and be able to save sentient beings in the future. May Buddha bless you and your families. Until next time, Amituofo.